Tomhoman's basically said, you can't stay here. You got to go home. So he can either pick Costa Rica and the warm beaches there or go over to Uganda. But he is not going to be a quote-unquote Maryland man for any longer.
Meanwhile,
Mr. Abrego Garcia was taken into custody by ICE this morning.
Trump do not sleep. He don't play by no rules. You say, will your president be awake at 3 o'clock in the morning to answer the phone if it rings? Shit, yeah, our president is up. Our president is a vampire. That motherfucker sent 23 tweets at 12:30. What the fuck is you talking about? That motherfucker is on it. Trump don't give a fuck. That motherfucker is on it, whatever the fuck it is. Every time he wake up, he just sign another piece of paper. Wait till they see this when they wake the fuck up, since they want to talk. We used to just being able to watch the news a little bit and then walk off. Not with Trump. Niggas is watching the news like it's the playoffs. Trump don't give a fuck. Trump don't follow nobody's rules. The president supposed to be at the White House. Our president is wherever the fuck he want to be.
Now, Abrego Garcia became the focus of critics of the president's illegal immigration crackdown after he was mistakenly deported to El Salvador. The governor of Maryland, where Abrego Garcia has lived in recent years, lashed out at the president.
It's the president manipulating the fact that we have a very broken immigration system.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit?
flashback.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
What?
Deportations will cause the housing market to correct, rent prices to be affordable again. Let me explain. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen between 25 and 35 million people pour into this country. And what that has caused is an affordable housing crisis. What used to be $700 is now $1,500 a month for a small apartment, and no one can afford it. If they deport between 5 and 10 million people, you will see apartments, condos, houses, rent drop significantly. Now, the entire housing market's tied together, and even though most immigrants are not coming in and buying $500,000 homes, when the market corrects, the entire market corrects. There's many things that could cause the housing market to pull back. We're not going to talk about the debt bubble and other things in this video, but deportation in itself would make the housing market naturally correct itself. So if we see between 5 and 10 million people leave this country, I would expect within 1 to 2 years to see late 2019, early 2020 levels for normal rent prices and much of the house prices to correct back down to.
But instead of actually doing the work that it requires to fix it, actually working in Congress to come up with a comprehensive immigration bill, the president is working to exploit the brokenness.
What? This is one of the reasons why I think the judges and the federal judges inside of the United States of America are bought off. And a lot of these dirty politicians also, they are bought off. They know how much the undocumented immigration or the undocumented illegal immigrant or the undocumented, however you want to call it, makes out of the federal tax, local tax, and the state tax per year. These are actual stats. This is how much they made on the year 2023 under the disastrous Biden administration. Now, let me read this so you can understand how much this ghost tax or this undocumented tax, it is not even presented as an option to be politically funding this global illegal migration. $96.7 billion total in federal, state, and local taxes. Of the $37.3 billion went to state and local governments. Now, in recent estimates, 2023, in the year of the Biden disaster, $66 billion paid in federal income in payroll taxes by unauthorized immigrants. Of that, about $43 billion were payroll taxes and $22 billion were income taxes. That tells you the level of money that it was being managed, that it can be easily manipulated to go to Central and South America. Now, for the American taxpayer, how much did you send out of that money to the UNHCR and also to OIM? This is how much Americans, and possibly through the undocumented illegal immigration, they sent to the countries to politically and to ultimately to radically continue with this open border agenda. On the year 2024, $2.54 billion the United States of America sent to the UNHCR to politically and continue with this global immigration crisis in the continent of America. Now, how much did you send to OIM, the Organization International of Migration? And under the Biden administration, you sent $5.83 billion to OIM. What makes you think that all of this ghost tax by undocumented immigrants, it was not used as a go out money to Central and South American countries, and ultimately also the American taxpayer money? It is amazing if this was the strategy to manage this open border disaster through the south border of the United States with Mexico and Central and South America. Now, it makes you understand and it makes you think how much money undocumented immigrants are making per year on the fiscal, the state, and the local tax. It makes you think, and it makes you understand how much the judges are federally corrupted, how much also dirty politicians are instructed to say, no, we're not going to do mass deportations. Look at the amount of ghost tax that the federal and the local and the state tax it is receiving of undocumented immigrants. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it tells you that this was not only the number one market. So imagine $96.7 billion out of this ghost tax that in the year 2023, $66 billion paid in federal income and payroll taxes by unauthorized immigrants, adding the child trafficking, adding the exploitation of women, adding all of the NGOs that were making millions out of this, and adding how they knew that if they fund more illegal immigrants into the United States of America, it will create more funding and it will create a money scheme machine continuously out of the federal tax, out of creating money interior, out of the tax that the actual undocumented immigrant it is constructing, it is making, and this money-making machine of these NGOs and international organizations, it is funded out of the human misery and out of our people that are migrating from the south to the north, being used, as we have said so many times, a weaponized migration. Open your eyes. This is a system, a financial system of these globalists using the fake humanitarian wing to make everybody think that they're doing something for people when they're not.
All eyes on Maryland this morning as Salvadorian migrant Kilmar Abrego Garcia is expected to report to an ICE facility. What this could mean for his possible deportation to Uganda.
And President Trump is vowing to stop crime in Chicago as Mayor Brandon Johnson tries to push back.
And Democrats facing a fundraising crunch as they kick off their summer meeting today. Will the party be able to recover after seeing a huge dip in voter support?
Kilmar Abrego Garcia is expected to show up at the ICE office there just days after he was released from a Tennessee jail. He is in the country illegally, of course, and faces human smuggling charges. He's been offered a deal to be removed to Costa Rica if he pleads guilty to those charges. If he doesn't accept that offer, he could be taken to Uganda.
Uganda's on the table. We'll see. I mean, you know, DOJ's, you know, our immigration attorneys and the judges, they're all in negotiations, and we'll see what happens. But Uganda's on the table. We have an agreement with them. It's on the table, absolutely.
Now, during his time in El Salvador, Abrego Garcia was visited by Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen. You see them meeting there. He was also Van Hollen recently spoke to him virtually as well. Now, Van Hollen has been a champion for Abrego Garcia's cause, writing, "We will stay in this fight for justice and due process because if his rights are denied, the rights of everyone else are put at risk."
What?
Convicted of anything left to rot in a foreign prison.
He has been convicted.
He has not.
Yes, he has. Hey, he's illegal. He's been arrested. And get this, he's not an American citizen. If you want to spend all your attention trying to protect a human trafficker, you can do that. What I love about this is that in order to find this out, we had to send him to El Salvador, which created this unstable hysteria among camera-chasing Democrats, which forced this guy's crimes into plain view. Suddenly the Maryland dad, and that's what you called him, was no ward cleaver, more like Freddy Krueger, a wife-beating gangbanger, human smuggler. So if the Dems hadn't run to his defense, we might not have seen how bad they are and how stupid your party is. And it's not about the man, says Van Hollen. The Dems compelled us to feel for him. They wanted his name in our heads. I have seen that picture more times than I've seen pictures of my dog, Gus. Why does the media always use one picture? This guy, I mean, look, the picture is supposed to tell you, hey, he's a normal guy. You know, he doesn't look at child porn. He doesn't embezzle kids. Just look at him with his backward hat. You know, they demanded that we abide by their outrage narrative. What they didn't count on was that their poster child for persecution was actually the persecutor. And unlike Van Hollen, I am sincere when I say that scumbag is irrelevant. Not Van Hollen, but he is a scumbag. The criminal. It's the demand that the media and the Democrats have for us to accept their narrative.
Tomhoman's basically said, you can't stay here. You got to go home. So he can either pick Costa Rica and the warm beaches there or go over to Uganda, but he is not going to be a quote-unquote Maryland man for any longer. He never was. He's an El Salvadorian gangbanger who's been doing violence across the country here, including charges of human smuggling over in Tennessee. The country will be a lot safer in a couple hours, regardless of what he chooses.
So, I mean, hypothetically speaking, what happens if he just doesn't show up?
Well, then ICE will go and grab him. I'm sure they have eyes on him. His lawyers, if they're helping him evade ICE, I'm sure could also face some sort of prosecution, or anybody else that might be in the mix. I mean, the entire Democratic apparatus, from the highest levels of politics, including U.S. senators in Maryland, and even our own governor here in Westmore, who's really a Zohran Mamdani type figure with a fake war record, have been standing up and thwarting the federal government and the lawful exercise of immigration enforcement the entire time. But I even think it would be too bold a step for them to help him evade. Everyone knows where he is, and we all know where he won't be pretty soon, and that is the United States of America.
Mr. Abrego Garcia was taken into custody by ICE this morning.
The raids. This should not be happening in our city. It is not warranted.
Meanwhile,
a deadly home invasion has this quiet neighborhood feeling on edge.
It's terrible. Everyone is getting robbed. Cars are getting broken into. There's homeless people in the parks.
It's absolutely insane. You would never think to see this in a neighborhood like this, and it seems to be a strange sort of uptick in crime we just got here. So we're definitely concerned about the neighborhood.
Just after midnight on Saturday, officers rushed to this home on De La Osa Street. They found 47-year-old Alexander Medabadze badly beaten and suffering from a head wound. Neighbors talked as long as we kept their identities anonymous for safety.
He had a Doberman pinscher. He was always out playing with it, rode his bike with the dog running along him on a leash. Always very friendly. Seemed like a very nice guy.
Detectives say the suspects broke in, held Medabadze captive, and beat him severely before stealing his property and taking off. But their escape didn't last long.
That's a little bit stress relieving, a little bit, but the fact that there's been robberies around the corner here and all this, it seems like just a little too much.
With help from the FBI, LAPD detectives tracked them down in less than a day. One suspect caught in Sherman Oaks, the other two in Glendale. The men, identified as Pata Koshlavili, Zaza Atorshvili, and Basiki Kutsavshvili, are now behind bars, facing murder charges and held on $2 million bail each. Neighbors here worry about increased crime in a different incident. Just last week, these neighbors say their home was ransacked and their dog terrorized.
And he peed in his cage, and he stole a bunch of my purses and jewelry. And it was all just very, very unfortunate.
it's a problem here, and the residents are very, very, very scared. I'm considering putting my house up for sale.
We need to stop the raids. This should not be happening in our city. It is not warranted.
What?
But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.